I work for a company called Verisec. Verisec are a Swedish company. They've been doing identity and access management solutions for 17 years, and they have just rolled out the first electronic ID that's been approved by a government. It's a Swedish government, but I'll talk to you about that. It came from a big history of the things that we've already heard about. If you've been in this lecture theatre, you've heard about all the threats, and you probably know these better than I do, so I'm going to do something. Fortunately, you all think I'm called Mark, so the next thing I'm going to do is really safe. That is my porn star name. Topsy Delafield. Put your hand up if you've got a porn star name. Your porn star name is the name of your pet and the name of the place that you grew up. So your first pet and where you grew up. So my first pet, Topsy, and I grew up in Delafield. Now, as you log onto Wi-Fi here, and you go into the Virgin Wi-Fi, one of the security questions it asks you is, what is the name of your first pet? And what is your favourite place? So 2 out of 3, you're in. Straight away, the weakest link on the chain. So this is on YouTube, isn't it? Topsy Delafield. Moving swiftly on. Anybody on Strava? Splendid. Strava, for those that you don't know, Strava is a fitness app. You go running, you go cycling, you can compete against other people who have an identity online. Strava did an amazing thing with big data, and they published every single route that had ever been done in the world. All that data, all the shiny bits are where people have been exercising. For those of you who cycle to college or work around here, that's the heat map for Napier. So they are the routes, and there will be challenges within those routes, and you enter into those challenges, and you win those challenges on your bike, and then someone looks at that and thinks, they must have a really good bike. Let me see where they ride from, and when they ride to, and when they do that ride, and I'll go and steal their bike. No point stealing the slowest person's bike, so we'll steal the fastest person's bike. That's your data that you put online that they decided to share with everybody, and if you've got a really good bike, keep it in your house, especially if you're on Strava, because IT didn't invent crime, just criminals used it as a shortcut. That's the Strava map of the Middle East, and for all those people on a forward base in Afghanistan, they decided to show where all the forward bases are in Afghanistan on Strava, because all the people who are working out there are exercising. Not only do you know where it is, you know the layout. How useful. Now, there's the Americans for you. The American Navy aren't that stupid. They know they can't be hacked on Strava. And the people who are trying to find out where all the troop movements are, the ship movements in America, decide we can't hack into that, it's too secure. So what do? They look for a weak link. The weak link is they all have to stop at some point and pick up supplies. And actually, if you're on an aircraft carrier, you're going to use a lot of toilet paper. So if I can hack into every chandler around the world that has a contract and work out when they're ordering the toilet paper and when they're getting it in stock, they can figure out where the ships are going from and the ships are going to. Big ships use more toilet paper than small ships. So last year, the American Navy realized that people were hacking into their suppliers, not into them, to find out where the ship's movements are. Toilet paper. It's just to remind me about that story. So the question is, who wants your identity and how are they going to get it? So I'll just go through that. I know there's been quite a lot of it talked about already. What's been happening in Sweden is the same as been happening in the UK. So the first thing is, anywhere that you're using a password, you are now vulnerable. So you log on here, you log on open free Wi-Fi. I've got a friend who works in security, and when he stays in a hotel, he puts his little Wi-Fi thing on, he calls it free hotel Wi-Fi, and he watches traffic for the evening because he prefers that to watching TV. It doesn't matter, you're typing stuff in, you're vulnerable. There's an app, an Android app, that does weather. It was written in Russia. It's a weather app, and it's really good, and you hold your phone and you do that. And it makes you press in different places, knows how you hold the phone, knows how you tilt the phone, and within 6 minutes of you using the app, it can guess your password to log into your phone with a 90% accuracy. And that's a 6-digit password, not a 4-digit password. If you use the app for more than 20 minutes, it's on 98% because it's still recording you logging in afterwards. But it's, it's free to download, it's lovely, it's out there. All we need is just one little chink in your armor to get through to take everything away from you. But we're actually not taking it away from you. What we're just trying to do is use some of it as if it's you. In Sweden, they have a massive problem with people changing your address. Because as soon as I've changed your address, I can do almost anything. And part of the solution that Verisec have done with freya ID secures your one address so that if it is going to be changed by anyone in your ecosystem, you get an alert and you have to approve that address change. So there's more than this. There's vishing and phishing and all that sort of stuff. So Fakebook, who's got a Facebook account? Sorry. Anyone got a Facebook account? Excellent. And you've all got your proper birthday in there so that all your relatives know when your birthday is. And all your friends know when your birthday is. Because as soon as I know when your date of birth is, because I've got it from Facebook, and I probably know your age because all your friends are the same age from school, then my birthday is one of the things that my bank asked me for. At least these guys don't know my porn star name. The new arrivals outnumber the people who were here earlier, so I'm just going to do you a quick recap. You've missed how to get your bike stolen by using Strava, why you shouldn't have a porn star name, and why the American Navy needs to be careful about who supplies them with toilet paper. But I'll move swiftly on and get to personalization. We're talking about identity management and access management. So one of the best ways to get your password is to send you an email saying you've been compromised, please click on this link and reset your password. Beautiful, what a beautiful, simple way of doing it. All you need is a little website that almost looks like what it should look like, and I'm asking you for your username and your password. That, obviously, you read the URL, you check it's the URL if you're stupid enough to click on the link. But actually, I'm just going to harvest emails and passwords because it's likely that as long as your password's not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it's likely that the password that you use for a site like this will give you access, will give me access to a password for another site that might be more useful. But it's also, once I'm in there, I can find out all sorts of things about who your friends are, what their dates of birth are, and it just helps me pretend to be you when the bank phone me up when I'm trying to change my address or transfer some money. The other great thing is when they phone you up and say that you're from TalkTalk. They were always from TalkTalk. We've detected a problem on your line. Can you just log on and type this link in, please? We're going to check that your line's fine and your internet speed is all right, and we might even want you to download something, and we'll just watch you for the next 3 or 4 months to see everything you do. It might take you 3 or 4 weeks. So internet speed tests, really, really useful. And they're from TalkTalk because we all know that TalkTalk's been compromised because TalkTalk told us. What we don't know is that everyone else has been compromised because they haven't told us. And then I get emails from this guy all the time. If you actually go out to Nigeria and you fly in, there are government people at the airport, and if you look like you've got 2 suitcases, not 1 suitcase, they will kindly take you to one side, take you to the terminal, make you buy a ticket home, and put you back on the plane, and saying, there is nobody here who wants that money to give you more money. And so actually the detection, the prevention of the actual fraud when it's a physical thing, we've actually got people to do that. And all the good hotels, so when you do fly out there, you get the good hotels, they've got people there as well to take you back to the airport and put you back on the plane. So don't take piles of money, usually American dollars, out to Africa, because this guy hasn't got any money to give you back. Here's my email from Twitter that says, oh, by the way, we were encrypted apart from the log files. Don't worry, no one's stolen your data. No one's compromised you. But just go onto the settings page, click on that, and update your password, because you might log into something else with Twitter, which would be really nice. Now, sadly, that's genuine. That's genuinely from Twitter. And it just looks like it almost is. So what do I do? Do I go onto Twitter through myself? Do I change my password, or just think, oh, actually, Twitter's rubbish anyway, so I'm not going to bother? It's only, the problem with Twitter is you only get 2% of the conversation. And then that's the best way of doing it, isn't it? If I can get a copy of your bank statement, if I work for the local council in the paper recycling bit and get a copy of your address, then I'm in, aren't I? I've got your address. I've got your bank account details. So I'm already at the point where I can phone up the bank and I can say, oh, I've lost my phone. I can't remember anything on the phone, but here's proof that I am who I am. Can you put it onto this new phone number? I've just changed my phone number. And you go, the bank go, oh, God, I've got to do 40 calls an hour. Of course I will. Off you go, and then they just churn you through. They don't care anyway. Banks have got loads of money. They don't care if you're not paying. You know, if you lose £20,000, it's in real terms, it's only worth £420 to them. They sell it. So, what can we do about it? Right, this is a great example of what we can do about it. I worked at Walsall Council in IT for 8 years, and we had a problem where people would come in and say, we've just moved to Walsall, these are our kids, put us on benefits. And we're like, well, yeah, that's the rules. There you go, they're your kids. And then next week, 2 more people with similar looking kids would come in and say, we've just moved to Walsall, these are our kids, put us on benefits. So, we got one of those, and we hid it round the corner. And when somebody came in with their kids, and we made them queue, and the kids went round the corner because they knew there was one of those things there, we knew, actually, they might not be your kids. And in fact, they might not be the last 5 families' kids, because we hid that. Once you've been there once, though, kids are clever. They just go, come in straight away, go and play with the little white thing. So if you go into your local council office and see one of those, you might think that's for the kids to not be bored. Or you might think, I am preventing identity theft. My council is doing something proactive. That's what we did. It was great. Really, really effective. Because the kid's not going to listen to its parents, is it? There's one of those bead things. So we go back to what Verisec did. Verisec, been around 17 years, based in Sweden. Everything's in Swedish. It's encrypted already because no one can understand the word they're saying. And they started with one-time passwords and multi-factor authentication. They started the oath and ochre thing. They work for BBVA Bank in Mexico, has 20 million users of their app that basically you log onto the bank and it's got to be you because you're holding your phone. There are cases where people lose their phones or people's phones are stolen or you got SIM swapping, but those cases are a lot smaller than the number of stupid people who use online services. So what the Swedes did last year was they upgraded this. They realized that the Swedes are really into technology and they don't carry cash. And they do everything on their phones. And they realized that what was happening was there's a level of authentication that everybody's asking for. Your council are asking for it, the taxman's asking for it, your gambling companies asking for it, but they don't care who you are while you're spending money. They only want to know who you are if they have to pay out. So 5% of users, they care about who you are because you've actually won something, and they're trying to give you money back, reluctant to. So what they did was they created this ecosystem where you use the same ID for all of your online life. Your taxes, your bank accounts, logging into work, your email. And you decide who you want to use it with. And you log in on to the computer and it says you want to log into your bank. Instead of asking for a password, it sends a message, it comes down to your phone. You get an encrypted message that says, is this you wanting to log on to your bank? And you say yes or no. If it's not you, if it's someone from Afghanistan trying to log on to your bank, it's not you. Then what they do is they say, we are now going to say, we know you because we've got your email address and your phone number, not good enough. But then in Sweden, you take your driving license and your passport to a betting shop, because betting is Sweden's favourite hobby. I know everyone else thinks it's porn, but it's betting. You show them that, they will then update and upgrade your identity. So now, you've got an identity that, according to the Swedish government, is as strong and as legitimate as having your passport shown. So now if I want to go into a bank and say I want to open a bank account, they don't have to ask me for my ID. They don't want to see anything in paper because the Swedish government, a betting shop essentially, has said we have seen these credentials. And as you go through this life, you own this, you build your credentials up so you can get your tax number added, and all of this turns into one place. The information isn't stored there. The information is still with the people who used it, the relying parties. What's stored there is the fact that it was authenticated at that time. So there's not like putting all your passports in one little book. What you're doing is you are passing trust of one identity around the whole ecosystem. And as a user, you're deciding who gets access to that identity, and you get that convenience. So Freya eID, you can download that on the App Store, and it will point you to your nearest Swedish betting shop, which is 750 miles away. So, and you'll need a national insurance number to actually get there. But John and I, John's the other half of the UK version of Verisec, there are two of us. John and I are talking at the moment to relying parties, to various government bodies about how this works. It isn't a government scheme, it's a private scheme, but the government have said it's strong enough. So you get away from the fact that they're forced on it. It's not like Estonia where you have to use it. In Sweden, there's a bit more freedom. I've broken your clicker. Oh, so user controlled, turn it on and off, and basically, if you trust your mobile phone and it's your thumb, and it can also do that, are you in the right place at the right time? Do you hold your phone the right way? Do you walk the same way? All that gait analysis stuff. You actually got one identity used for all your digital life.
Thank you very much. Please give
Mark, Topsy.
a round of applause.
Thank you.
We have time for one question, one or two questions. Do we have any? Yep.
How do they verify the verifiers? So the people that are verifying the IDs.
So the betting shops have a terminal like the National Lottery. So if you imagine the National Lottery, to use a National Lottery terminal, you need to be registered and trained. So what they've done is they've registered and trained all the betting shops in Sweden because that's the ecosystem. They're also saying that councils can do it at a certain point. So all they've got to do is log on to their version of the website and say, I've seen this person's ID. You get the message to your phone saying, are you in this place? Showing your ID to this person. If you're not, It's not you, is it? But if you are, you can say yes and no. So it's still you and the authenticator are doing that. So they've got the terminals, they've got the betting terminals anyway, they had the infrastructure in there. If we were going to do something in the UK, you'd do it on National Lottery terminals or in McDonald's.
Why not the post office?
Or the post office. We're talking to the post office in the UK, but the post office is ideal because GovVerify, so there are 7 different parties in GovVerify. The post office are the most trusted of those 7, and the post office has more trust than, I think, every other organisation in the UK.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you very much. Please give Martin a round of applause. Thanks very much.